You lie every single day. Not the big ones, not "I didn't steal that money" or "I was never there." The small ones. The ones that feel completely normal. "I'm fine. I don't mind. I'll start tomorrow." That didn't bother me at all. You say these things. You hear yourself saying them, and somewhere, quietly, you know they're not true. But here's the part that nobody talks about. The person you lie to most isn't your boss. It isn't your partner. It isn't the friend you told "I'm on my way" while still lying in bed. It's you. And the strangest part? You're really good at it. Let's start with the obvious lies, the ones you tell other people. You tell someone their haircut looks great. It doesn't. You tell your parents you're eating well. You're not. You tell your boss the project is almost done. It isn't. These feel manageable. You know you're lying. They probably know you're lying. Everyone moves on with their lives. Society continues to function. Beautiful system. But self-deception is different. Self-deception is when you lie to yourself and actually believe it. When the part of your brain doing the lying and the part receiving the lie are the same part. When there's no audience, no social reason, no one to impress, and you still do it. Why would anyone do that? Good question. Let's get into it. Picture this. You apply for a job. You spend 3 weeks preparing. You walk into the interview, you give what you genuinely believe is a strong performance, and then you don't get the job. Now, what do you tell yourself? Option A, I wasn't good enough. I need to work harder and prepare better next time. Option B, the interviewer clearly had someone else in mind from the beginning. The process was biased. I was actually great. Most people, if they're honest, lean toward option B, not because it's true, but because it feels better. And here's where it gets interesting. The brain didn't choose option B lazily. It worked for it. It scanned the memory of the interview, found the moments that supported the narrative, amplified them, quietly buried the ones that didn't fit, and delivered you a clean, comfortable story. Your brain did all of that for you, without asking, without telling you, like a very loyal but slightly dishonest personal assistant. There's a name for this. Cognitive dissonance. When two things you believe contradict each other, your brain feels genuine discomfort, like a tiny alarm going off somewhere in your chest. And the fastest way to make that alarm stop isn't to change your behavior. It's to change the story. Classic example. Someone smokes. They know smoking is bad for them. They believe they're a smart, rational person who makes good decisions. These two things cannot both be true at the same time. So, what does the brain do? It finds a solution. My grandfather smoked until he was 90. Stress kills more people than cigarettes anyway. I'm going to quit soon, so it basically doesn't count. These aren't stupid people. These are normal human brains doing exactly what they're designed to do. Protect the self-image at almost any cost. The cost, in this case, is accuracy. Now, here's the part that should make you slightly uncomfortable. You do this too. Not about smoking necessarily, but about something. Everyone does. The question is just what your particular version looks like. Maybe it's the relationship that ended, the one where you were definitely mostly right and they were mostly wrong, and the more time passes, the more clearly you remember it that way. The details that made you look bad have faded. The details that made them look bad are crystal clear. Memory isn't a recording, it's a story. And every time you remember something, you're not playing it back, you're rewriting it, slightly. Just enough to make the main character look a little better. The main character being you, obviously. But wait, it gets weirder. Because some self-deception isn't just comfortable, it's actually useful. Studies on depression found something unexpected. Depressed people tend to have more accurate self-assessments than non-depressed people. They're better at estimating their actual abilities, better at predicting how much control they have over outcomes, more realistic about how other people perceive them. This is called depressive realism, and It's deeply unsettling if you think about it for too long, because it means the opposite of depression isn't accuracy. The opposite of depression is optimistic self-delusion. Most mentally healthy people walk around with a slightly inflated sense of their own abilities. They think they're better drivers than average, better listeners, more attractive, more competent, funnier. You're probably doing this right now. It's fine. Keep going. And this inflation isn't just a bug, it's a feature. People who believe they're slightly more capable than they actually are try harder, take more risks, recover faster from failure, start businesses, ask people out, apply for jobs they're not quite qualified for, and sometimes get them. The lie makes you better, which raises a very uncomfortable question. If the lie is useful, is it really a lie? Or is it just a strategy? Let's talk about the most sophisticated form of self-deception, the one that doesn't feel like lying at all. You have a value, something you believe about yourself. I'm a kind person. I'm honest. I care about other people. And then you do something that contradicts that value. You say something mean. You take the credit for someone else's work. You walk past the person asking for help because you're running late. The brain has a problem now. The action contradicts the identity. So it gets creative. I was having a bad day. They would have done the same to me. I'll make up for it later. It wasn't that big a deal. None of these are lies exactly. Any one of them might even be true. But the function they serve is always the same: to seal the gap between who you did and who you believe you are. This is why people who think of themselves as good can do genuinely bad things and still sleep at night. Not because they're hypocrites, because the brain is very, very good at this. Here's a question worth sitting with. When was the last time you changed your mind about something important? Not a small thing. Not, I used to prefer tea and now I prefer coffee. Something real, a belief about yourself, about a relationship, about a decision you made. For most people, the honest answer is not recently. And it's not because they've been right about everything. It's because changing your mind about something important means admitting you were wrong, which means the version of you that held the old belief made a mistake. And the brain doesn't love that. The brain loves consistency. It will go to extraordinary lengths to maintain a coherent narrative about who you are and why you do what you do, even when the coherent narrative is fiction. There's a specific lie that almost everyone tells themselves, one that might be the most universal form of self-deception there is. I'll do it later. You know this one. You've said it today, possibly multiple times before you even got out of bed. And the interesting thing about this lie is how convincing it feels in the moment. Future. You always seems so capable, so motivated, so ready to handle everything present you doesn't want to deal with right now. Future you will go to the gym. Future you will have that difficult conversation. Future. You will finally organize the inbox that currently contains 4,000 unread emails. Future you is essentially a superhero. The problem is that when the future arrives, future you becomes present you. And present you has all the same reasons to wait. This is called temporal self-deception. And it works because the future feels different from the present. More abstract, more manageable, and crucially, not right now. So the lie doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like a plan. But here's the thing about all of this. We treat self-deception like it's a flaw, like it's something broken in us that needs to be fixed. And maybe some of it is. The kind that keeps you in a bad situation because the truth would be too painful. The kind that stops you from seeing patterns in your own behavior that are hurting you or the people around you. That kind isn't harmless. But the rest of it, the slightly inflated self-image, the rewritten memories that keep you sane, the I'll do it later that at least keeps the idea alive, the story you tell yourself that gets you out of bed and into the world. That's not failure. That's survival. Every human being who has ever existed has done this. The ones who tell you they don't are lying, possibly to themselves. So, where does that leave you? Probably somewhere uncomfortable, which is where the interesting things tend to live. The goal isn't to eliminate self-deception. That's not possible. And honestly, it doesn't sound like a good time. The goal is to notice it, to develop just enough distance from your own narrative to occasionally ask, is this true? Or is this just comfortable? Not always. Not obsessively, just sometimes. Because there's a version of you that's been telling itself a story for a long time. About why things turned out the way they did. About who was right and who was wrong. About what you're capable of and what you're not. And some of that story is true. And some of it is the most creative fiction your brain has ever produced. The question is, do you know which is which?